Welcome to the 50th episode of the Can Learn Library here at the North Battleford Library. May is here, and in a few days it will be Mother's Day. In honor of the upcoming occasion, I would like to share with you June Florence's tea scone, however you say it, recipe. Her daughter Elinor has graciously allowed us to use it. There are many recipes for scones or scones, but I thought using one from someone from this community would be a great way to celebrate our community and its people. For the scone recipe, you will use the following items. For this recipe, you need 3 cups of flour, half a cup of sugar, 5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 of a cup of margarine, 1 large egg slightly beaten, and 1 cup of milk. Now let's make it together. This particular recipe didn't come with a lot of instructions. Oh, I think I better take my ring off. Put it off to the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix the dry ingredients together and kind of make a well, and then put the liquid ingredients in the middle. Because from what I could read about scones or scones, you shouldn't overly mix it. It's kind of like a muffin recipe where you don't want to mix it too much, and we're not going to have a really nice well-shaped ball. It's going to sort of be shaggy is the word, I believe. So I thought I would do it that way. So we'll just add our flour. We're going to add our sugar, our baking powder, which is what's going to make them rise nice, I'm hoping. Okay. All right. So we've got it. Add this here. And a little bit of salt, 1/2 teaspoon. So I'm going to just do a couple dashes. It should be 1/2. And I'm going to just mix that and make a well. As I said, the more that you work this dough, your scones or scones will be a little tough, so we don't want that. So we've done our dry ingredients. So I'm going to put the milk in the middle. We'll add our slightly beaten egg. I've washed my hands before I started, so I'm good. And then we will add our margarine. Okay. So I'm going to use a spatula to lightly mix it. You can add a cup of raisins or grated cheese according to this recipe, but I imagine if you wanted to add like cranberries or other berry fruits that you like, that would work here as well. So we're gonna add all this stuff together. I'm a fan of raisins, so you probably saw that in the last part of the video, but I forgot to mention it. Won't forget it now. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to gently mix this. As I said, we don't want to make it into a smooth batter. We want it to be sort of shaggy. That was a weird word for them to use, but yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully we can make them as tasty as Elinor's mom and Elinor make them. So let's just kind of put that into there. Now when you do put it out onto the table, we're going to need a little bit of flour. So I'm going to just very lightly flour this here. I've got my baking pan already buttered. I just put a little bit. I didn't know, being that there's already 3/4 of a cup of margarine in there. We don't know just how it's going to do. All right, so I'm kind of scared to mix it too much, but it says it's supposed to be shaggy, so we'll see what shaggy means. Just kind of cut that in there because we don't want the butter to be all in one spot. Or margarine, I should say, because this one is margarine. And some of them do use butter, but I guess if you use the butter, it's got to be super cold. So I thought, well, I'll stick with the margarine because that's what this recipe asked for. So we'll just kind of mush it a little together here. And then I'm going to flatten it on the table. And it says to be about 2 centimeters high, which is less than an inch, I think. So we'll try that. I'll just get it on here. I guess this is what they mean by shaggy. So make sure I kind of got all the, so let me just kind of flatten it. I was going to roll it with a rolling pin, but then they said too much handling is not good for them, so okay. And I've got myself a cookie cutter that I'm going to use. I'm not sure how much this makes because that wasn't said, but with 3 cups of flour, you should be able to get a fair amount. I'll just get the rest of this in here. Okay. Just hoping it kind of sticks together enough to cut. See, couldn't find a really round one, but I guess if you don't have a sort of roundish type cookie cutter, a glass will work, and I imagine it's got to be a certain width. I'm hoping here that I've got it about the right height, and I preheated my oven to 450 before we even started because you know how long ovens can take, and this one's kind of slow. I don't know about yours at home, but okay, so I'm going to cut, and it said not to twist, it said just to, so this is going to work. There's one. Now with that much baking powder, we should get them high, and it says to put them quite close together so that they don't spread. You want them to go up and oops, instead of spreading. So maybe I should have used the glass. We'll see. I don't want to wreck her recipe. I'm hoping that I can make it turn out as good as theirs. Finish cutting these, and then I'm going to put them in the oven. I'll show you what they look like before they go in, but just let you don't have to watch me cut them all. Okay, they're ready to go in the oven. I'm hoping they'll stay together. We'll see what happens after 12 to 15 minutes. Well, here are some of the scones fresh out of the oven. I think if I was to make it again, I would probably mix a little bit better than I did. I was a little too afraid to overmix it, but they smell yummy and I hope that you will try it with less fear than I had. That's all the time we have left for today. Take care.